I want you to take a second to visualize what you would do with an extra $10,000 per year. That might be enough money to buy a new car, pay your rent, or take a luxurious vacation. After just a few years, that could be enough money to make a down payment on a nice home. And while $10,000 per year might sound out of reach, it's not. So in this video, I'm going to go through 10 different ways that the average person could save over $1,000 per year, explain the 274 rule, and talk about the very first money habit that you need to start practicing so that you can find even more ways to save money. If you used all of these strategies, it is very possible that you could save an extra $10,000 per year, and maybe even more. But first, let me explain why saving $10,000 per year is so darn important. If you saved $10,000 per year every year over the course of your career, then you could be a multi-millionaire by the time you retired. And I'm saving even more than $10,000 per year, which is why I'm on track to retire in my 20s, even if nobody likes and subscribes to this YouTube channel. So if you do all of the things that I talk about in this video, or even just some of the things, it could make an enormous difference on your wealth. And the best places to start are the expenses that you don't need to spend anything on. I'm talking about your subscriptions and your entertainment costs, which I get for free. I'll talk about that more in a second, but this is the first way that I recommend saving money. And what's crazy about these expenses is a lot of people have subscriptions to things they don't even use. So the very first step should be making sure that you're not paying for anything that you're not getting any value from. But that might not be enough to save an extra $1,000 per year. So do yourself a favor and look at your biggest expenses. For a lot of people, things like cable TV will be your largest recurring expense. There are way cheaper alternatives here, which could save you a ton of money. When I was a kid, my parents had a subscription to Sling TV, not sponsored, that's way cheaper than most alternatives. And instead of going to see movies in theater, wait to rent them or at least get matinee tickets. And instead of a ton of subscription services, subscribe to just one at a time and really get your money's worth. And if you want to save even more money here, then you don't have to pay anything. YouTube is free, and it has more content than you'll ever have time to watch. There's also a bunch of free sites where you can watch basically anything for free, but definitely don't use these because they might be illegal. To save an extra $1,000 per year, you just need to save $83.33 per month. Most people pay more than that on entertainment, so this is absolutely doable. Another expense that almost everyone has is their phone, and maybe more importantly, their phone plan. And here again, you can save a ton of money. I've made a whole video on this before, but basically people are paying way more than they need to. For one, you absolutely don't need the latest and greatest iPhone. These can cost over $1,000, but my phone costs less than $250. But even more important is your phone plan, because these can cost over $100 per month from a lot of providers. But you don't have to pay that much. I've been partnered with Mint Mobile for a very long time, and this is exactly why. They have phone plans for as low as $15 a month, and they make it extremely easy to switch. As in, like, it only takes about 15 minutes. I'm not joking, it's pretty awesome. So by buying a cheaper phone and by switching to a cheaper phone plan, you could easily save over $1,000 per year here. And the next way to save an extra $1,000 per year is actually something that I wasn't sure if I should include. On the one hand, I think people are way overpaying for this, but on the other hand, it does help keep people healthier, and it's hard to put a price tag on health. But it's so easy to get this service for literally $0, so I felt like I had to include it. What I'm talking about is your gym membership. Memberships vary a lot, but paying $80 a month is not unreasonable. And I even did a whole video on the Equinox gym chain where you can easily pay hundreds of dollars per month. But again, fitness is super important to me, and it's not worth sacrificing your health just to save more money. But I think there are some super easy ways to save way more money here. You can get an incredible workout just by doing bodyweight exercises, riding a bike, or running. There are full workout plans online, which you could even do in a small apartment with no equipment. And one of my favorite workouts is just sprinting up the hill behind my apartment, which nobody charges me anything for. So you don't need to spend money to stay healthy, and a lot of people could save way over $1,000 per year here. But even better, you can save money and get healthier without even working out in the first place. I was on a date with a really pretty girl recently, and it was extremely easy to drop $75 on dinner for two. And this wasn't a super nice fine dining establishment. There are cheaper places to eat, and I do live in an expensive area. But the average cost of eating out is $15 per meal, and that includes fast food restaurants. Compare that to cooking at home, which averages around $5 per meal. that's a difference of $10 per meal. So if you ate out 2 less times per week, you would already be saving an extra $1,000 per year. So eating out less is a win-win situation. You can eat healthier and save a ton of money. And the good news is that even after you start eating from home, you can still save a ton of money if you do what I'm about to recommend. The 2 closest grocery stores to me are a Whole Foods and a Trader Joe's, neither of which are known for being cheap. So most shoppers I see are probably spending around $6 to $10 per meal. But for me, an average meal might look like a banana, peanut butter, rice, vegetables, and eggs. Those are so cheap that I could easily make a meal for about $2. And that's why you should meal prep and shop in bulk. And even if you just save $1 per meal, over 3 meals a day and 365 days in a year, you'd already be saving an extra $1,000 per year. To me, this is one of the most underrated ways to save money. If you look for cheaper substitutes and buy in bulk when you can, it could make an enormous difference on your wealth. And hopefully, you're seeing how many ways there are to save money. So before I get into the next 5 ways to save over $1,000 per year, I want to explain the 274 rule. Trying to save a huge amount of money can feel overwhelming, but when you actually look at what it takes to save an extra $1,000 per year, all you need to do is save an extra $2.74 every day. To me, that feels way more approachable, and in this video, I'm only going through ways to save an extra $2.74 every single day. There are so many other ways to save maybe 50 cents, $1, or $2 per day, but taken together, those can all add up to some serious savings. So despite living in an extremely expensive area, I'm still saving tens of thousands of dollars per year. And I'm not doing anything special. I'm just taking advantage of all of these little savings, just like you can. And if you really want to save a massive amount of money, you need to look at your largest expenses. The average single American is spending almost 40% of their income towards housing. And since rents in the area I live in are absolutely astronomical, and buying a house felt a little out of reach, I knew I had to find a way to save money here. For me, I did that by living with roommates. So instead of spending $2,000 per month for a studio apartment, I now spend less than $1,000 per month. So that one decision is saving me over $1,000 per month. But you don't have to be that extreme if you want to save an extra $1,000 per year. Remember, $1,000 per year is just $83.33 every month. Saving that money on your monthly rent or your mortgage is probably doable, whether that means negotiating, refinancing, or if you really have to, moving. But you might even be able to save $1,000 per year on your living expenses without having to do any of that. Costs will vary a ton depending on where you live and how much space you have, but there can be some surprising ways to save here. Just remembering to turn off lights and close windows can make a big difference, and don't water your lawn after it rained. Shorter and cooler showers might help save money on water and energy, and better insulation can help too. Even recently, my townhouse's water bill decreased by over $150 per month just by fixing a leaky toilet. So taken all together, you might be able to save an extra $1,000 per year just by reducing your utilities. But there's another expense that I don't think gets nearly enough attention, which is your transportation costs. Americans are obsessed with driving, but I think it might be a lot more expensive than a lot of people think. My international audience might be a little better about this, but it can still be a huge expense. According to the Department of Energy, the average cost of driving a mile is 58 cents, and the average American is driving 13,500 miles per year. That's $7,830 per year from direct driving costs alone. But I commute everywhere by bicycle, or occasionally by public transportation, so I get to keep all of that money in my wallet. But if you don't want to go that far, you don't have to. If you just drove 15% less, that's already a savings of $1,000 per year. You could do that by combining trips, carpooling, or by using public transportation. And not using a car for short trips could actually make a big difference. And after saving money on your housing and your automobile, it might be time to reevaluate just how much money you're spending on insurance. Once again, this is an area I can save a ton of money on. Since I don't even own a house or a car, I don't have to pay very much for insurance at all. But even with just a cheaper house or car, you could be saving big money on insurance. At the very least, it's worth shopping around for options. And in America, health insurance is another big one. I use one of the cheaper plans offered by my company, which is the best deal available. Either way, it's always good to stay up to date with what you're paying and to make sure that there aren't even better options. And the last way to save an extra $1,000 per year might be the most important. I wasn't sure whether I should include this one or not, but then I saw a report from the United States Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that said Americans paid $120 billion in credit card interest and fees last year, and that averages out to $1,000 per year for every American household. I really hope you're not in that position yourself, because credit card debt can be one of the most expensive forms of debt that you can have. If I was in that position, my number one financial priority would be getting rid of it. Paying off your credit card debt basically acts like an investment because it means you pay less in interest and fees every year. So that can be a great financial move, and it should definitely be a priority. And if there are other ways to save an extra $1,000 per year, can you drop it in the comments? I'd love to make a part 2 of this video if there's interest. But if you want to figure out which of these habits you need to start now, and to find even more ways that you can start supercharging your wealth, then there is one easy financial habit that you have to start now. That habit is tracking your income and your expenses. And last year, I literally tracked every single penny that I spent, and I learned some really interesting things.